land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hello, sportsmen. Look at this group, John. We have hundreds of practical sportsmen here up at the Gander Mountain Store in Saginaw. Enthusiastic hunters, deer hunters. I have some questions of law for you folks. In fact, most of these hunters here are violators. You don't know that, do you? We're going to get into this in the questions of law. So you stay tuned. You're watching the Practical Sportsman.
This is what most non-hunters think that deer hunters have on their mind when they're in the woods on November 15th. A big bruiser like this is what you see in the pictures and see in the videos, but very rarely will any hunter see a buck like this in the woods. In the wild, these big boys are not only elusive, but they're relatively few and far between. To say that most hunters see smaller bucks is an overstatement too. Smaller bucks are more common than big bucks, but for many hunters who don't live up north and know the woods inside out, and for most hunters who haven't spent the time they should scouting their deer hunting spot, they'll be thrilled if they see 5 or 10 does and have a chance at just one buck. The best way to scout a hunting spot, if it were practical, would be to go up in a hot air balloon.
Deer runs are relatively reliable indicators of where to set a hunting blind. Look at this runway, heavily used. Most of the time, deer will walk down these trails, eventually making a rut like you see. But they also use runways as escape trails. But watch how this doe splits off the runway to get off to the side. Then she stops. She can't figure out where that balloon noise is coming from. She stops to scent the wind, cock her ears, and search with her eyes for any clue of where the intruder is. But she never looks up, and when spooked again, she'll angle back. Her ears are rotating as she runs, not sure of where the noise is coming from. She'll stop to look around again. Her pattern is broken, and she isn't sure which direction to go. Remember, when she wasn't quite as confused, she used the runway, which she'll use again when she settles down. Hunters are tuned to putting stands by deer runways, but deer don't always travel on the open field side. A good bet is in the corner of a woods or a field facing towards the woods.
This is hot evidence that where we're going to be hunting for the last couple hours of the second day of the season is good. I mean, that is a big deer track. We're in a large cornfield, in one little corner of it. It comes down the corner, woods on both sides, swamp on this side, woods behind us, and we have our temporary blind set up there. We're using that Senko blind. A decoy. We're going to give it a shot. Now, see how windy it is right now? I mean, look at this. The wind could blow this lightweight thing all over. So I found a good thing to do is put it on in this case, a corn stalk. A stick or a corn stalk, thread it right down through the head, like this, and it'll stay right here. So I'm going to face it towards these woods, put the ears up where it looks like it's the most alert, and hopefully deer will come out right there. We'll be able to see it from the blind, and we'll get lucky. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Now right here at the end of the cornfield, look at these deer trails. That way, and they're crisscrossing all through here because the deer funnel down. That's a key to finding a good spot, especially in farm country like this where they funnel. This is a funnel spot. Now, let's see, everything's okay, John, except we don't have visibility out this side and we need it, so I'm going to twist this blind around. Just move it like so. I think, yeah, this should give us the visibility we need. Should be great.
This spot was in Washtenaw County, 1993, the second afternoon of the deer season. From the ground, it had all the attributes of an area that deer travel. Now, we tried a bunch of gimmicks and gadgets, a portable blind, decoys, even burning scent sticks.
Lots of visibility here with these windows down. In fact, we have a decoy in the cornfield, and I don't know if you can lean back there and see that decoy, John.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that is set up so it's looking towards the marsh, and hopefully it would attract a deer to come up to the edge here. I could maybe get a shot. It should attract a buck if a buck comes on these trails.
Very good.
You can't like it when that smoke blows towards you. Not with that urine stick. I might have to move it just so I can tolerate sitting here. I gotta move this thing. This is awful. Oh, pew. I'm gonna use some paper on this, John. I'm not gonna touch it. Oh, God, I got the ashes on me. I hope they don't smell as bad as the rest. Let's see. Maybe here. There we go.
This was our view from the blind. John Ford and I, in our usual setup, me with the gun, John with the camera. We've spent a lot of time together like this during hunting season, and it's a good thing we get along well because most of the time we're just waiting to see deer that don't show up. Now the light starts to dim. It's bewitching hour, getting near the end of the day. This is the time when those stumps start to move, and we think we see deer when it's just our eyes playing tricks. Now it's too late to shoot, but we just enjoy seeing the shadow of a deer.
This is what time is it? I can't see the watch. It's probably 5:45.
I can't see.
10 to 6. 10 to 6.
Well, the best laid plans may look good at the time, but that one didn't really pan out. John, I want to ask questions of our audience here because we think we know what the deer react to. How about you folks? Well, we have sitting here some of these deer with the orange on the neck that we used for decoys. How many people think that deer can see orange or see colors? How many think they can? How many think they cannot? Oh, okay. So you would say that the blaze orange does not make any difference to the deer? No? Okay. Well, that's pretty much my feeling too. What about the smoke? You know, we did those scent sticks. How many people think that deer are afraid of smoke when they see it in the woods? Oh, some of you do. How many people think the opposite, that they're not afraid of smoke? So, you people do not want to hunt next to each other when one guy is cooking up a little lunch and all that. But there's a big division there. If you set up a blind the same afternoon you're going to hunt from it, are the deer going to notice that and stay away? How many people say it's not good to set up a blind the same day? Okay, and how many people say it doesn't make any difference? Oh, you see why we have conflicts in the woods among hunters. Right here, they don't agree. How many of you are going to stay in your blind all day opening day? All day. All day. How many people are going to go back at lunchtime? Good, that'll move the deer for the rest of them. See, these are the types of differences of opinion that we have amongst hunters. How many of you hunters are going to get a deer opening day? How many of you are telling the truth?
For all the dreaming we do about deer, no hunter today can afford to walk around in a dream world. In the 1990s, hunters have more regulations and more laws to worry about than hunters 50 years ago ever imagined. We have more deer to be sure, but the regulations are more complicated than ever. For example, when you see a fence, that's as good as a no trespassing sign. It means private land, and the owner of private land has the exclusive right to keep other people off his land, and that means hunters.
Situation is, you shoot a big buck on land that you have permission to hunt. That buck runs maybe 50 yards across a property line where you don't have permission to hunt, and it dies right there where you can see it. It's laying there dead. Does the law give you a special privilege to trespass and retrieve a deer that you've legally shot but dies on private land?
No, you have to get permission from the landowner
How do you know that?
because it says so in the rule books.
But didn't you have something like that happen the other night?
Yes,
Somebody
I
said?
did, and I tried to get a hold of the landowner and I couldn't, so I couldn't find anybody around. So I trailed the blood just to see how much blood I had, and I had lots, and 30 yards, the 8-point buck laid there, so I
You got the deer.
I got the deer.
Did he trespass?
Yes.
Should that be a violation? Yes. Huh? You don't think so? Hold it. You got the right answer there. Yeah, you have to get permission, but we didn't encounter this question in our question. What if the landowner would have been there and denied him permission to get that deer? Is there any way that he could have legally forced that so he could get the deer?
Well, there's nothing he can do then.
There's absolutely nothing he can do?
Nothing that I know of.
Go to DNR conservation.
He can, but if the landowner sticks to his guns,
It's his deer.
oh, hold it. It's the landowner's deer?
Mm-hmm.
Hold it. What'd you say back here, young man?
It's the DNR's deer.
Is it the DNR? No, hold it. It's the landowner's deer, it's the DNR's deer.
It's the state's deer. It's everybody's. It's state property. You can't own a deer unless you have a farm license with a fence to keep them in. Otherwise, it's the state's deer.
And the state is who?
Everybody.
So who gets the dead deer that's laying there on the property?
Person that shot it or whoever tags it.
Hold it. Whoever tags it? Let me give you these scenarios. The guy goes to get a conservation officer to try to get that deer. While he's gone, the landowner tags the deer with his own tag. How many people say that's legal for the landowner to do? Not $5 for you with your hands up in the air, no.
It's not right, but it's legal.
No, it's not legal. The landowner cannot tag that deer because it says in the hunting guide that a person who does not legally take a deer cannot use his tag on it. He has to legally kill that deer. So that means that the hunter's buddy or some other hunter on the landowner's land cannot tag that deer either. What about if the deer disappears? Just say that you waited and that deer had disappeared and you came back and you said, by golly, where is that 8-point buck? It's gone. And then you find out later that that 8-point buck is hanging on the wall of the landowner. What can you do?
Be very upset. Try to get another one, I guess. I don't know what I could do.
Does anybody think that there's anything you can legally do? No. Our practical attorney, Sal Ghani, agrees with you.
No. The deer, whether it's dead or alive, belongs to the state of Michigan, to the people of the state of Michigan, and you can lawfully take it if you have the consent of the landowner to go onto the property. If he denies you the consent, you can't go on the property.
What if he takes it?
He cannot lawfully take it with the tag. He would have to call the DNR and have a CO come out and issue a free permit on it. At that point, he can take it.
What if I know that he takes it and the deer's gone and he's taken it?
Yeah.
That was my deer.
How can you prove it?
So that's the problem?
Well,
Evidence?
the problem is the landowner cannot legally take the deer unless he calls a CO and has someone come out from the DNR and gets a free permit on it. You cannot take an animal unless you have a license or a free permit. Although the landowner did not shoot the deer, he's still precluded from taking it himself. He couldn't go out there and take the deer and use it for his own use unless he got permission from the DNR.
But if everybody knew that he did take it, it would still be tough to nail him because of evidence?
If you've got to prove it. If you're going to claim it, you've got to prove it.
Trespass on private property is only one problem that crops up during deer season. There's another infringement on hunting territory that happens on public land, and it's usually involving a hunting blind that a hunter spends time situating and building and thinking about. Many hunters feel that a blind stakes out their territory.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing in this blind?
It's a nice area, but I don't see you sitting here.
Hey, this is my blind. I worked on this thing for 2 weeks. I built it. I've been scouting out here.
Guy, this is state land.
I claim this blind.
And once again, fella, it's state land. I have as much right to be here as you do. You can't claim a spot in advance.
So the question is, can you reserve a spot to hunt by building a blind on state land? You can't, You mean you go to all this trouble building a blind and other people can see that you're going to hunt there and it means absolutely nothing? Oh my golly, what heartless people. Here's a guy who builds a blind on state land out of sticks.
Yes, sir, I do.
What do you find out there? Do people want to come sit in your spot?
The people that know me wouldn't, but I certainly hope not.
Aren't you concerned about this big? How many people, put your hand up if you think that you should have a little extra consideration if you build a blind, that people ought to give you a little slack. Okay. Hold it, but you said what? I asked if, come on over here a little bit closer. I asked if you should give somebody a little consideration for having a blind.
You should, but they don't, they don't care. That's if there's a, blind there, you built it.
But wouldn't you agree that maybe we could work on this as practical sportsmen to try to get people to realize that you should get a little bit of credit for carving out a spot?
You should, but...
You should? Everybody like that idea?
I think kids have to learn.
Oh, there's a hunter over there on the ridge. Looks like maybe 200 yards away. His blaze orange really stands out. He's not moving right now, but he was walking around back in there. He must see my orange hat. You'd think maybe we're shaded, but blaze orange definitely is a big help to hunters.
So the question is, on state land, how much space should there be between hunters? Isn't that a fair question? You don't be on top of each other. What do you think?
I think they should probably be able to set up the blind right next to the other guy if you really wanted to be a jerk about it.
Okay, but we don't want to encourage jerks, do we?
Well, I think if nobody has reservations for a blind, I think you're encouraging confrontations anyway.
But shouldn't we have something? Some hunting etiquette. Some hunting etiquette?
Yes, hunting etiquette. Respect the other guy, because if you show some respect, maybe that guy will show some respect for the next person who's out there. And
Okay.
maybe it'll spread.
Okay, that's the idea that I think we'd like to foster as practical sportsmen, get the sportsman back into it again. But the question is, how much space should there be between you and the next hunter? Pardon?
Out of eye view sight.
Okay, out of sight.
Far enough so whatever.
It depends on if it's shotgun or rifle,
What's the difference?
or if it's a bow.
What's the difference?
Well, shotgun would be maybe 200 and rifle would be 4 or 5.
Okay, but would you buy the bit about being out of sight if you can't see the guy? No? So how far should it be?
If you're using a shotgun, I'd say at least 100 yards. With a rifle, depends how big that would be. I would say a couple 100 yards anyways. And then maybe on the terrain, if you're in the swamps or hills or whatever.
Okay, so we're not going to go by the eyesight down here. We're going to go by maybe 100 yards or so and a couple 100 yards for rifle. That's as close as we can get it for this deer season, but it's a start.
Despite how hard you try to follow the law and how conscientious you are, there are some laws that you're destined to break, even if you're a successful hunter. It has nothing to do with your fault. It has to do with the fact that maybe passing more laws isn't the answer to everything.
I can't shoot because it's standing right past the decoy. It's looking at the decoy.
Good shot.
Oh, look at that. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, a 7-point. This is the biggest buck I ever got in my life. Oh, I can't believe this. After you tag your deer, you have no more tags left. How do you get your gun out of the woods, back to camp, along with the deer, without breaking the law?
Unload it.
Unload it? Wrong.
Disassemble it.
Disassemble it? Wrong.
Got me.
Go get your truck and then come back and get your gun.
Go get your truck and then get your gun. How are you going to get back to camp with the deer? Is that legal?
Just leave your gun where you shot.
I have an astounding revelation. Let's go to Sal Ghani and find out the answer. You've used your permit, you have no permit, and you have a gun, so you are violating the law now by possessing that gun in the woods.
That's correct, you are. If you follow the letter of the law, you are violating the law.
What can you do?
Well,
I don't see any way around it.
During firearms season, there probably is no way around it if you follow the letter of the law. The correct procedure would be to take the weapon, put it back in the vehicle, then go pursue your animal. But the problem is, once you pursue the animal and you catch it, you bring it back to the vehicle, you're in possession of a weapon and in possession of the deer. And you don't have an unused kill tag. So technically, during firearms season, the way the law is written, you are an alleged violator.
That means that every hunter who uses his tag, shoots and tags the deer, is automatically, until he gets home, in violation of the law.
If you follow the strict letter of the law, the answer is yes, but you're innocent to proven guilty. First, there's got to be a ticket issued, and you've got to be found guilty before you are guilty. So you're a violator only when you're found guilty.
Are you going to have a defense by saying, I had no intent to hunt? Or is this to be strictly interpreted that you're just automatically violating the law?
I can't believe that CO strictly interpret this part or enforce this part of the law. If they did, there'd be a lot of problems.
You heard it. The answer is you can't. There's no way you can legally get your gun out of the woods because you don't have an unused tag. You can't get another tag. Boy, are the questions popping up here. We'll have to get to these questions in a second. But you cannot. You will all be violators if you're successful hunters. Isn't that something? Huh?
That's crazy.
Well, there were reasons for those
laws.
Huh?
We're all violators.
Well,
Unless
yeah.
you've got a buddy there, can he take your gun?
Yes.
Then
Yes. He can take your gun.
he can take your gun and you can drag your deer.
Yep. And then when you get back to camp and you're driving around in the truck and you get your gun there, you're transporting your gun, you don't have a tag, you're violating
You're
your gun.
violating.
How about that? James Manon in the Yooper from Chassel, hunting with a 30-06 up in Houghton County. Got a 10-point with a 21 3/8 spread, another dark rack, a swamp buck. Is that where you always hunt, up in Houghton?
There's swamps there, but it's mainly in the hills where I hunt.
Ah, but is Houghton your
Yeah.
favorite county?
All the time.
How come?
Because I live there.
Oh, that's right, Chassel being in.
Yeah.
So you're not far from home when you hunt?
Right behind my house.
Oh, here, we're talking about going up to the UP and the guy hunts in his backyard.
This is the first one I got there in 21 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You've been hunting for 21 years?
Yeah.
Haven't had a chance? or
Oh
what?
yeah, I've seen some big ones back there, but I like a good clean shot when I don't like to run in or nothing like that, you know.
So you finally got a good clean shot this year.
Yeah.
A 10-point with a 21 3/8 spread, 13 7/8 tine. Which one is that? That's this one right here, 13 7/8. Well, congratulations to you, James, all the way from Chassel, Houghton County in the UP. Super. You feel like you're wrongfully accused. You got this real uncomfortable feeling like you're going to get a ticket, and you feel right down in your heart and your guts, you do not deserve this ticket. And maybe you shouldn't be cooperating here. Maybe the more you're saying, it's making it worse, and you want some legal help or something. What should you do?
Well, Fred, unfortunately, the more you try and speak and cooperate, the more you're digging yourself a hole. We have a policy where you want to be cooperative with an officer. You've got the new thumbs up policy, but the problem is people do hang themselves. When they talk to the CO in an effort to be cooperative and try and get themselves out of a problem, what they do is wind up giving the CO all the evidence he or she needs to write the ticket. If you have the uncomfortable feeling, the best answer, I think, is not to say anything, because at this point, anything you say can be used against you. What the CO is trying to do is investigate to see what happened, and when he's investigating, more likely than not, he's going to accuse you of doing something improper. And by you telling him or her exactly what you did, you're basically giving them the evidence they need to write the ticket against you. The best circumstance or best advice is not to say anything.
Won't that get you in trouble for not cooperating with an officer?
I don't think so. There's no law that says you must cooperate with an officer. If the officer believes on the circumstances you committed a crime, he or she's going to write a ticket. Basically, I'd say in probably more than 90% of the time, the person gives the CO the information they need to write the ticket. So the best answer, I think, is not to speak if you feel uncomfortable.